I gotta interject. What he just will call a rant for 2 minutes, that would have cost you $1,500 to sit down with a high asset account manager to be told. We're not here to just spout off or flex. What he just told you would have cost you a fortune to pay an expert for. Listen to this shit. How old are you? Let's just throw it up.
I just turned 38.
He just turned 38. He's younger than me. How old are you?
Same.
These aren't... Brad?
4.
34. You're talking to six-figure people crossing into the seven figures. These aren't 80-year-olds who've had to take a lot of... This is just people that learned. They put their egos aside and learned. This is the whole point of what we're getting at. This knowledge you have to pay for. We're sitting here. This was given to us by a $1 billion company, so we have it when we do our things. The rum is ours. That's our brand. We're not sponsored. This is my company's cigar. We also have coffee, all that kind of shit. Don't ever let someone tell you that you can't do something because it's too big or too grand for you. This is what we're doing. We're enjoying our shit. Do you see us wearing fancy labels? Like, yeah, there's some LV and some Louboutins back there and shit like that. But you know what? That's just for the visual. We invest in our own brands. Your brand is you. So why aren't you expanding and investing in your brand? Whatever your name is, that's your brand. So start putting money into what makes you money. Don't go and flex. And yeah, we have the cars and stuff like that. But the reality is, Lamborghini makes money when we flex by buying a Lamborghini. Fiat gets more expensive, or gets their shares go up when we buy a Ferrari. This kind of I make money smoking my own stuff. I don't even smoke. I do it once a month. But all I'm getting at, this is not a flex. This is what life looks like when you believe in yourself and invest in yourself. This ain't even a motivational speech. This is just information. You do with it what you want. That's all we're saying. We're not telling you what to do. Use this as another piece of information to get yourself ahead. The better you do, the better the world does. Because you're not going to be a burden on anybody. You never have to rely on anybody. Just keep this stuff in the back of your head. This is free fucking information.
Like we were saying before, if you're the smartest or richest person in the room, you need to change rooms.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're not learning something, I learn everything, or I learn something new every day. Even if I've been in my career for the last 18 years, I still learn something new almost daily. If you're not learning, either you're dead or you're just shut off and you just don't give a shit anymore. So, just like simply put, like you said, put your ego aside. I'll gladly sit down and listen, because even with other people from being very new to the industry have helped save my ass, because I've been so involved with other things. Them looking at something and just being new has shown me a different insight to something, and we were able to do something safer, more efficient, or even just save the client that I was working for time and money, because I was too busy looking for something else. They realized something from, say, the project before, and we're like, hey, I didn't see this. Have you? I go and talk to the client, and luckily for that particular situation I'm talking about, it saved us 6 hours of downtime, which would have cost the client $2,500 an hour. So there's...
what was more important here, the money or the time?
So
there's time.
There's $15,000 that we saved the client for the 6 hours of downtime, because we were $2,500 an hour, because the new guy came up and asked me a question, and it's just...
And you didn't take it a hit to your ego being like, no, I'm in charge, fuck you.
No, not at all.
That's how most people do it. Who the fuck are you to question me?
No, and part of how I see things now with the industry that I'm in, the more I can teach, mentor, and the more information and more experience and training I can sit there and do with my guys, the better our crew can do. So not only complete the job faster, more efficient, it's also safer. And if everybody can do everything, we can accomplish anything. We've had people sick, so we're a man down. We can still get the same amount of work done because somebody can step up, and just constantly mentoring and training. I honestly feel that for myself, if my operator can't come in and do my job, I'm failing him, because he can't step up and do that position. He needs to know like every facet of the job. So let's train the guy on the very lowest to take, say, the next spot up.
Yes,
So
promote
everybody
your
can
guys.
promote internally.
Yes, and you're not worried about having your job lost to someone. You're not in competition. When you're all trying to succeed, you're not in competition with each other. You're in competition with the world that's fighting you. Inflation is fighting you. Obstacles are fighting you. So why do it alone? Train the next guy who's going to take over your place, because you should be looking for the next guy's place, and that guy should be looking to own the company or start his own. That's how you develop personal equity. You don't fight with people and backstab people and try and take their job. You all move up a step. Does this make sense, or are we just talking out of our ass? Because I know
a team.
There you go. A team wins. Individuals crumble a company. I've seen that so many times.
But see, that's the most important thing with leadership, and that's where you start to earn real money and drive your real value. Is when you can teach. So you start with a company. You start with a company. You do a great job, and then they promote you to a leadership position. But now you're the person that's in charge of teaching them how to do the job just as well as you did it. And it's a whole different mindset, and that's where leadership really comes in, and that's where you really add value. When you can teach 100 people to do a job just as good as you could do it, that's when you really add value.
Anyone can step in and succeed.
And that's how you really add value. And really, at the end of the day,
At
the end of the day, all this is value. That's what you're
And your
adding
customer gets the absolute best result, because if one person's injured, one person's sick, the next person can step in without missing a heartbeat and finish the job. Everybody gets paid. Not this way that everything happens now. It's like, well, just put a Band-Aid over it, send it out, and we'll pretend later and fix it later, or fix deficiencies. F that shit. So what did he just say? Teach. What is the essence of teaching? Knowledge. What did we start by saying? It's not rich getting richer, poor getting poorer. It's knowledgeable getting richer, people that lack knowledge getting poorer. It's not rich versus poor. Understand that. Understand that. If you take nothing else from here, if you hate everything we're saying, you think this is a giant flex and we made a video and wasted 2 hours of our time. No. Retired, on their way to retirement, multi-million-dollar house. This isn't a flex. This should be motivation to you to get the same thing, because we're all humans. So why can't you do it? That's what this is about. You can take this as motivation. You can take this as hating us. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fall asleep without worrying about what you think about me. You don't even know who I am. But tomorrow you can wake up and put this into practice. It's going to take time. But just, if you're interested, write in the comments. What do you want to know? What do we need to elaborate on? Because these points, while they make sense, they're hitting on the that's going to change the way you think about earning money. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to make big dollars. You can work your way up through employment. The guy behind the camera, Cameraman Mac, he never owned a business. Retired in his early 40s with 7 figures. Why? Because he just squirreled it all away and invested it wisely. We're talking about really glamorous entrepreneurship. People love my story, but I'll guarantee you, 1 out of 100,000 people can do it my way. Everyone can do it Cameraman Mac's way, but no one wants to because it took 20 years.
Well, look at Warren Buffett.
Well, he's
Warren Buffett and Elon Musk got into it, not in a heated discussion, but why is it that everybody else is having issues making wealth and everything else? And Warren Buffett, yes, he's an older gentleman, but he simply says it because how the world is now, everybody wants to be rich instantly or tomorrow. It takes some time. Look at him. He's one of the wealthiest people in the world, and it's taken him X amount of time to do it. And he also doesn't live within his means. He still drives the same Buick Riviera car, or I believe it's a Buick or a Cadillac.
It's a Cadillac, and it's like an 89 or 91.
Yeah, and he drives, he's still in the same house, and he loves it, and he wouldn't change it. And he's still, honestly, when you talk to his mentors or his peers or anybody below him, he tries to educate and just teach and just help everybody.
And he made his first million at 40.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, if you go time-wise, his million at his 40 was a ton more. 40 and making $1 million now is easy. I'm telling you right now it is, and this is not a flex. Making $1 million by the time you're 40, you're actually behind.
Well, depending on the industry you're in, you can go from, depending what you want, again, every avenue is different, depending how you approach it.
The women are laughing. None of them are even close to 40. I think a few of them are about to hit 28.
You can make your first $1 million total revenue for income easily before you're 30. like without a problem. Like that's still like I said that like the young kid making money on the internet, or there's still kids on the internet making more money than we are on a daily basis. Kudos to them. Like they found something, we're able to exploit it and get there.
Absolutely.
I'm jealous they're a better entrepreneur than me, but I don't hate them for it.
I don't hate anybody. I see it as another means
Another
and
learning
trying to
opportunity.
open my eyes to just being able to create wealth. Like before my grandfather passed away, talking about cryptocurrency and stuff. For him, he was he was 90 years old, still curious about it. Sorry, he was 91. But regardless, for me to explain to him that I couldn't even put a coin of Bitcoin or Ethereum or Shiba in his hand physically, other than me taking my cell phone and putting it in his hand, he looked at me and straight up asked me why I was such a silly bastard. And this is a super religious, old, loving grandfather. Can't ask better of him. But for him to look at me and think that I am unbelievably crazy with like some sort of snake oil voodoo magic is just showing the era that we are in to have the ability to make an income and grow yourself personally, professionally, and everything else. Like it bugs me when people say, well, I can't make money. Or people saying, oh, well, I've already put in my 40-hour weeks.
There it
people
is.
think I'm an
It is.
people think I'm an and my pay period starts from Sunday and ends on Saturday evening. So I joke with them, okay, so what did you do after Tuesday? And they look at me like I'm an asshole because I've already put in 40 hours in 3 days, easily. So I unfortunately don't get paid overtime because of where I'm at, but it's still good, but I still continue to put in. So what I accomplish, I usually put in, if we call it a 105-hour week, I still put in 65 hours of overtime, which is still 1.5 weeks worth of their regular time. I put in almost a month or over 2 months worth of time after I've already put in my 40-hour weeks, and then
That everybody else says is overworking them.
yeah, I don't know. Like I've also grown up where, again, living with my grandparents, working on the farm and stuff, it was work hard, play harder, and just be good
And
with your
40
money.
hours doesn't apply on a farm.
Yeah.
If there's bales to bale and throw them and stack them, sorry, it doesn't end, oh, it's 5 o'clock, we're just going to leave the rest on the field to rot. That shit, you could lose your whole crop.
No, we had 1 or 2 days. There was frost. It got 2 days, and it was you pretty much worked the entire 48 hours from that window to hurry up and get your crop off because everything was already swathed.
I get my crop off in a different way, but that's another story.
But
that's
still,
for our OnlyFans account.
But still, like it's
Another great way to make money.
Let's dig into that. If you got an OnlyFans account and you're making bank, good for you. We don't judge you. Make that coin, but don't spend it. Invest that because we want you to be part of the 8, 9, 10 figure club as well. We have no problems with that. If you have a problem, you smash that unsubscribe button because we don't like people that don't appreciate entrepreneurs. That's my little 30-second rant there. You go, all you OnlyFans people. I don't give a how you're doing it.
Find your market and sell it.
Right.
Again, make yourself valuable. If you found a way to make yourself valuable and you're getting paid for your time and the juice is worth the squeeze, exploit it, make it, and contribute to your future endeavors.
Just do
I like
something
the
with the
metaphor.
money.
What?
Juice is worth squeeze.
Oh, it's always the juice.
Oh yeah, you squeeze the f- out of that juice. Yeah, lock that up. All right, we're gonna finish off with a few more points, then we're gonna fuck around. What else we got? Yeah, don't ask successful people how to make money. Find out where money is moving, and put your person, and put your mind in the way of the way money's moving. Somewhere in the world, regardless of a recession, money's being made, and it's not just wealthy people; it's people that open their eyes. Okay, you can always sell something. Believe that. We're not going to get into all the different ways, or this. We're going to be here for 6 more weeks. If you want to know, please comment below. We'll actually tell you. We'll have these conversations with you. We can go back and forth over DMs over something like Instagram or something like that. We can't write your life for you, but with a few simple questions. And again, we're not trying to monetize this. We'll give our time to you when we have it. Doesn't matter if 1 million people have a question. You have no idea how big this group is. You want to know why the group is big? Because none of us are in competition. We're in competition with ourselves to be better. I don't care if any of you or anybody sitting here makes more than me. They didn't, like I said, my houses aren't worth less because these guys become successful. My vacations aren't any less important to me because these guys go on more extravagant ones. My investments aren't worth less because their portfolios are going to grow more. Start thinking like that. Here's the example. Like, I've drank all the champagne. People assume there's a finite amount of funds in the world. Money, we've already told you money doesn't exist, but wealth or whatever, they assume there's a finite amount. And the only way I get more is by taking his, and taking his, and taking his, then I can have. If you believe that there's only a certain amount of money in the world, that's on you. Aren't we drinking from 4 different cups that comes from a bigger bottle, that comes from a company that produces 1 million of these bottles? There's more wealth out there than you possibly know. Even though that we have trillionaires right now, there's still a piece of pie that's for you, and it doesn't take away from any of us. Know that. Change your mindset, because if you believe you have to step on someone to make money, I'm really sorry for you. I haven't taken a dollar from any of these, and I'm still where I am and climbing.
The only way you take from me is if I get more back.
Oh, good point. Because we're getting into this equity group together, and guess what? If he buys into the equity group, it's happening whether someone invests or not. But if he invests in it, guess what? My shit's worth more. So I don't care if he gets paid first. What do I care if he makes 50 points on everything he puts in? The whole equity group grows every time someone adds something to it.
But it's win-win. I get 50, you make more, everyone.
We're not even talking. We're not talking about what I make.
Regular
But that's the way it
business,
goes.
Say he makes 50, you're making 50 plus 20%. So you're still making exactly what he did plus a percentage. So welcome to straight up business and economics.
Business 101. If you're willing to make money later, make your business partners money now, and they'll never question your intentions.
Well, even for being an employer, treat your people, because when you have good employees, if they leave, they take your clients with them.
You have good employees. I'm sorry, but half of you don't deserve half what you're getting paid.
I've seen it. I've been part of it. I went out. I was with another U.S. company. It wasn't a good fit. I was working 4 weeks straight and then had 11 days off. It wasn't a good fit for me and my family. So I found another opportunity with my skill set within the same niche market and was back to my month on, month off. But with that, I brought contacts, I brought personnel, and with that and just growing, it's just a win-win, because when they lost me, like straight up, I'm loyal. I would have stayed there and not have any qualms, but it wasn't good for me and my family. It wasn't a good situation for the work, home life. But if it was, and I would have stayed, I would have been loyal and probably would have hung out there for years. No questions asked. I've been, the least amount of time I've ever been with an employer, I think, is like 3 or 4 years.
And that's a poorly run company, because if they had retained you, they think if you leave, cool, we got rid of a senior guy, we saved their salary. They have no idea what that salaried person...
You think it costs money to keep me? Wait till you hire an amateur.
There you go.
I'm not saying that arrogantly or cocky.
Say it with an ego.
It's straight up. You bring in somebody else that doesn't have the skill set, the understanding of how the project works or anything else, and something goes awry, or even straight up business. Like I've now been part of with talking with our management and our sales, and we've got, like, I've been supported with a phenomenal team. We're a smaller company, but I can't say enough good things. But with that, we're able to go and accomplish big things with what we have, and it's been phenomenal.
The other side of it is we're going into a recession. The biggest thing you can do right now is explain to your supervision, your bosses, your managers, the value that you add to the company. You do have to sell yourself in those situations. If you are an employee.
What he's talking about, remember what I just said, make yourself your brand? That's exactly what he said.
You have to sell yourself.
There it is.
If
that's
you're
all you need to know.
Right now, you want to show how valuable you are to the company and demonstrate that. That way, you're not going to get
1,000%.
Look out for yourself.
Look out for yourself.
And they're going to like the initiative that you went to them.
Absolutely.
Before it's time to start chopping names, you better let them know that your name shouldn't even be on the consideration list of getting rid of.
And that's an issue in the corporate. And that's the corporate world. It's a little bit different than contracts world or other things like that. Is you need to sell yourself, because at the end of the day, you know, you can be doing great things for the company, but if your management or the people that you report to don't know the value that you're adding or that you're putting into, they're just going to think you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And you're going to get caught in whatever comes, and that can be very negative for your situation.
And they're going to play the numbers
So sell
game.
yourself.
Yeah, they're going to play the numbers game.
I always tell the guys, and they've got onto it real quick because I've left people at the hotel. If you're on time, you're late. So if you're supposed to be there for 8 o'clock, be there at 7:40, 7:45.
Are you listening to this? This is just punctuality. This has nothing to do with money. You're being paid to be making the company money at what, 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
So if you're showing up at 8 o'clock, you've already shown you don't have the value for what you're being paid for. Punctuality is what every employer looks for.
Well, I get it, because realistically, to make sure that, like, for job security, show up. So that way, if they sit there and they look at you, and even if, say, you're not going above and beyond, you're doing you're just doing the basic, but you're completing it with what they want and their directive. If you're showing up, how would they fire you? And well, he gets everything he needs done. He's never late, and he's always on time, and we can count on him.
Yeah. Why check cash and I need my ass. Why check cash and I need my